Like many of you, we battled depression during life's ups and downs.
Music has always been the one thing that we could rely on to get us through the tough times that we all face.
Follow us on our journey as we discuss the healing power of music,
Interview bands,
break down genres,
review band biographies,
and more.
This is the When Words Fail
Music Speaks podcast
with Blake Mosley
and James Cox.
Hey everybody, welcome to When Words Fail, Music Speaks. My name is Blake. I'm joined with James Cox today. James, what's going on? Good sir.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Living the dream, sunburnt as ever, and all of my skin is now falling off thanks to the beach. But you know what? I had a great time. I read 4 chapters in the Sorcerer's Stone, and I don't regret it. And
Nice.
Sunburnt as I may be, I still had a great weekend. But so excited to have Casey back on the show. Casey, what's going on, dude?
What's going on? It's good to be back. That reminds me too. I remember I forgot to ask you about that, but I saw on your story on Instagram when you posted that sunburnt selfie.
Yeah, dude.
I
Yeah.
lost my mind. I was driving down the road. I almost wrecked.
So, whoops.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's been I just told James before we started recording, I've had a very stressful week at work, and we had this
Bad.
beach trip planned with some friends of ours, and I was like, you know what, 4:00 Friday, if you're listening to me and it's 4:01, it's because I'm in my car and I'm peeling out of the parking lot, and see you later. So
Not the only thing that's peeling after a few days of that sunburn.
it's already
Jesus.
starting to my forehead.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
Blake jerky, just flaking off. So, but yeah, I was so excited to get on the beach and just not do anything just for a while, get a good book. I was like, you know what? I've never read the Harry Potter books. I'm going to start reading the Harry Potter book. So I made it 4 chapters in. Before I looked down, I noticed that my legs were pink, and I said, crap. So my wife was asleep, and I like nudged her, and I was like, hey, can you put some sunscreen on me real quick? She was like, I think it may be too late.
But it's too late. Yep.
That
Yeah.
shit.
And
was
it was.
so-
Everything is bubbling and peeling, and it hurts, but it made for a good photo though. So I had to take the opportunity.
Totally worth it. You got to do it for the gram.
Do
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Do it for the great. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get sunburnt more often just so I can do it for the gram.
You got to do what you got to do.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, the gram is the gram.
Hey,
I mean,
if-
come on
if
now.
it means I become an influencer, then by all means, I'll risk it all.
If anything, you'll get a sponsorship from like Heinz Ketchup or something. I mean,
Well, yeah.
you are a whole mascot.
Yeah, I'm pure red right now.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of like Neapolitan ice cream type things going on. So like I'm white, and then I'm kind of darker, and then I'm pink. So it's just anyway. And my head's never been sunburnt before, so this is a new experience for me.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
Just
um,
bathe in aloe.
that's what I've been doing every day, like twice a day. I'm taking tons of Tylenol and just aloe vera. And
Yeah.
just trying to make it through the day. I went
So
to the gym for the first time in 2 weeks, and it was just not good. Not good.
I hear like meth and bath salts is pretty good for that. I don't know.
I might go into that next. That maybe
I saw it on Google one time. Yeah.
I don't know. Meth.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah, that's what I say. Desperate times.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, as you all know from our previous interview with Casey, he's a man of many, many musical talents, and many musical talents for sure. From teaching your drum lessons to songwriting and recording, you've been pretty busy these days, to say the least. We learned with your previous episode about your days drumming with Embracing Goodbye, your time in Season and Snare, as well as Heartmouth. But you are a second returning guest, by the way.
Oh, cool.
This is a big deal. Like we're so cool. Like it's so glad to have like guests come back and kind of update what happened since the last time. So
Right.
I'll tell you, I feel way more social since last time. Last time we talked, I think we were on the tail end of quarantine, but at that point, I was still like completely just living strictly out of this room. Like I wasn't leaving. Like I was barely going
Right.
to the store, if anything. And it's like a lot has happened since then. Like I played a show again, and I'm actually getting out in the world again. So yeah, this feels like a whole. I know it's only been maybe 5-6 months or so, but something like that. But I swear it feels like a whole different lifetime ago now.
yeah, it really has. So much has changed. It's unreal. But yeah, so we're real excited to talk to you, man, and kind of pick your brain about what you've been up to, and especially the Bronze Age, because I have spent a lot of time over the past few days listening to the Bronze Age. So everybody, welcome back to the show, Mr. Casey Allen. Thanks again for coming.
Yeah. So according to my thing right here, you were last on our episode of 58, and it was 6 months ago. So it's been 6 months since you talked to us last time, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of things have been going on with you. And now that shows are coming back. And you said you did a show. How was that show?
Yeah. So this was a Bronze Age show. This was it was last Saturday, and I'll tell you, it was one of my favorite shows I have played in years and years and years. So one, I haven't played a show since the pandemic started. Well, with the exception of this one like small like house show kind of a thing that I don't really count that or anything. But yeah, it was so much fun. And the cool thing about it is that there's like a new sense of energy with people wanting to come to shows again, no matter if it's like a national act or a local show. Like this was strictly a local show. It was us and two other bands, all local bands straight out of Raleigh, and we sold out the venue. And I think it was generally just from people wanting to come out and experience live music again. And just the energy, like I was telling my bandmates that I haven't felt, first of all, I don't remember playing like a sold out local show, like no national acts or anything. I don't remember sold out local shows since literally like 2010, like 2008, 2010, those days of like the Embracing Goodbyes days, you know? Yeah. So it was just so cool to be able to do that again. And then not only that, but just the energy in the room was so cool. I mean, like people were in there crowd surfing. I mean, like it was crazy. And the only thing that felt different to me, like everything felt pretty familiar, except I'm a bit older now. So now I spent the next day just like laid up in bed, like couldn't move my neck because I was still like throwing around the drum set just as hard as I did back then. But I have to pay the consequences now in my geriatric age.
Oh man, yeah. I that's been a question that we've asked a lot of people on the show that have gone so long without playing any gigs is what's it going to feel like when you get back out there? And so now we can finally start asking these questions, James. Like I'm excited. Like I want to know like the feeling that you get, like do you still get the pre-show jitters, and that type of stuff?
So what's funny is that, I played my first show. I'm 31 now. I played my first show when I was 17, like my first like real show anyway.
Yeah.
And that first show I ever played was the first and only show that I ever like got nervous for. Really? Well, with a couple of exceptions, and immediately like the stage just started feeling like home, and it got to where I didn't get pre-show jitters or anything like that. It was just excitement to get on stage and play. And there was like the only other show I can think of was I played Red Hat Amphitheater one time in downtown Raleigh. And just because it was such a big stage that so many other like just legends have played on that stage, like I was really intimidated. And I was definitely like, if you look up videos from that show, my voice is super shaky because I was singing that show. Like my voice was shaky. Like I was having to fight nerves that show. But that show and then this show. But I was actually nervous for this show because it had been so long. Yeah. It's so funny how like you kind of get out of the routine of playing a show and just like going through sound check and the load in. And, it's a lot of that hurry up and wait mentality because, right. You got to get there at a certain time. So you're busting your butt to get there. And then you got to get set up and stuff. But then you got to wait for other bands to sound check. And then it's your turn. So and you're not all at the same time. And you don't really know how the schedule is going to be. And when it's your first time doing that in well over a year, the jitters kind of came back. But then literally like first song in, like first couple seconds into the first song in, because the other guys on stage as well as myself, like we had a lot of pent up energy ready to get out, Yeah. And then as soon as we started playing, like the crowd just came up front and like we could tell that they were in it immediately. And when that happened, it's just like that adrenaline kicks in and all the jitters and the nerves go away and you're just having like the time of your life, and all that stuff goes away. So but yeah, I would say this was like the third show that I did kind of get like the pre-nerves for. And I think a lot of that had to do with just, laying low for so long.
Yeah. Imagine, especially, if you spent most of that time indoors and, because you didn't go out a lot at all, did you?
No, like I think I talked a little bit last time about like my previous like health issues as far as my lung goes and stuff.
Right.
So like once I found out that there was a whole pandemic going around that like affects the lungs, I was like, no, and I locked in and hypochondria through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm good. But no, yeah, I've been vaccinated since I last talked to you guys, and yeah, I've been living life again. Like the world's opened back up, and shows and getting out there. Been my girlfriend and I, we've gone on a lot of like hiking and camping trips and stuff, and just getting out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because when bands started coming, like touring, my first band that I saw live actually was Steel Panther, right? And I'm the kind, and I'm the kind of guy who gets nervous for the band, because I don't know whether they're nervous or whatever going on there, Okay, yeah, because I remember being at House of Blues and I had to go to the bathroom for Megadeth, because I was like, oh no, well they messed up my home, so it's kind of. It kind of relieved me to hear that you weren't nervous after the first second of going in there. That's amazing and awesome.
Yeah, there was way too much good energy to be in the room to let nerves get. Yeah, it was just a big fun party at that point.
Right. Yeah.
That's great, man. I'm happy for you guys. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you kind of tell us how the Bronze Age came about?
No.
Well, I'm not doing that.
No worries. Thanks for listening. This has been Word Force Phil.
I'm not a founding member of the Bronze Age. I came along. In fact, I had either just joined when I last talked to you guys, or I hadn't even joined yet. It was a new thing. But I go way back with the fellas in that band. So Mike and Mike plays bass in that band. He used to live 3 doors down from me. And so we grew up like not necessarily playing a whole lot of music together, but like supporting each other and being really closely related in the music scene together. And Jesse, kind of the same thing. Jesse played. Do y'all remember Your Name in Vain? Like the old Tragic Hero bands or anything? I don't know if y'all remember that band. He used to play in that band. Back the whole the OG Tragic Hero records lineup, like My Hero Is Me, Knives at Changing Hands and stuff, like The Hotness and stuff. Like Your Name in Vain was another one of those, and he played with them. And yes, and we just all had mutual friends, and we all came out of that heavy rock scene. And granted, I went a little bit more pop than they did, but we eventually kind of got out of just doing like really heavy metal and kind of just wanted to do rock and roll. And it would be one of those situations like they've been releasing songs. And in fact, all the songs that are currently out by the Bronze Age, I had nothing to do with yet, except for one. There's a song called Second Chances.
Yes.
And that song I did, I had just gotten out from my last lung surgery. There's a funny story in that. I'm singing some of the high harmonies in that song. Yeah. And it was a total accident. Like I was still recovering from my surgery, and I just wanted to get out one day because I was bored being cooped up. So I went to the studio, and they happened to be in there recording, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, let me hang out with you guys. And they're like, yeah, you can sing on it if you want to. And I was like, I can try, but I just had like a whole thing. But yeah, I wound up going in there. Wasn't a good idea because I got really sore after, and I was like really winded and stuff. But yeah, there's some harmonies of mine that are on that song. But there had been talks of me drumming, like joining them and drumming for them for a couple years. But just the timing was never right. There was a point in time where I was like super busy with like heart mouth stuff, or they had just like gotten another drummer at the time. And yeah, eventually there got to be a point where Jesse, who fronts that band, he's kind of like band dad for that band. And I think he just wanted to kind of go a different direction than where the band was heading. So a couple of the other guys, they parted ways, and Mike and I joined Mike joined a little bit before I did, and then I joined soon after. And then as soon as that happened, we just immediately got together. We started writing. And it was really fun to write the way I write for like a rock band. Jesse and I would get in a room and we did it kind of like pop singer-songwriter style, like the way I do Heart Mouth stuff. We got together with just like a stripped down acoustic guitar and a piano and wrote a song. And like with me, like I spend a lot of time on lyric and melody. Like that's my big thing that I focus on. And I think that's your strong suit. Get a good lyric, good melody, good foundation, and then the rest of the song builds around it very easily. And that was the case. We went and recorded up in New Jersey, up with Nick from Man Overboard. We recorded at his studio, and those songs are going to be coming out. The first single of those three starts coming out sometime, I think, in September. So yeah, once September rolls around, that's when the Bronze Age stuff will come out that I'm actually a part of. But I think there's still another single or two until then that's going to be coming out by those guys. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I've been listening to it like crazy.
It's so good. It's so fun to play.
It is, like, especially "Don't Worry, It Only Hurts for a Second." Like that's a great song.
I love that. I can't wait to start playing that song live. We didn't play that song at the show,
really?
but I love that song.
Yeah, it's great. It reminds me of some old SBR. There's some Emery in there, and I'm all for that. So
Jesse is a huge Thrice fan.
Yes. Okay.
So, and I definitely think so. You may be able to hear a little bit of that, like especially maybe older Thrice in there, but especially the new stuff. When I hopped on, some of the stuff is definitely going to be more kind of Thrice-y. Hopefully y'all will dig that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was talking with my wife earlier today because she's off at a Bible study, and she's like, "You doing a podcast tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Who are you interviewing?" And I told her you were coming back on the show, and she was like, "Oh, anything new?" And I was like, "I'm telling you, everything the dude touches, it like turns to gold." Dave Grohl and Aaron Gillespie, like just everything that it has your name on it is just really good. So,
if I keep talking to you guys, you're going to have to like widen my little screen bubble out because my head's going to get too big to fit in the screen. I'll tell you.
Well, it makes these types of interviews so much easier when you can you can talk about how much you enjoy it, because there's some, admittedly, there's some people we have on here that I'm not familiar with their music. And it's hard to like dig deep into those questions about, express how I like the song, because, I don't really know the song that well, but like, I'm serious, man, anything that you do, I'm listening to it and I am never disappointed. So it's so easy.
Well, thanks so much, man. That means everything. Like it gets so easy to turn into just a complete like cynical jerk in this field. Where you're constantly trying to write something, and you just like the whole point is just to write something that other people can like connect to and get something out of. And that doesn't always happen. Like that's the goal, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So anytime there's any kind of like glimmer of that in someone, that makes it worth it. So yeah, I appreciate those words.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question that I was going to ask, which you already answered, is at what point of the band's timeline did you come in? And you said you recorded one single with them, which is the Second Chances.
Yeah. Before the three new ones, that was
right. Yeah, before. Yeah, so of course with you in the band, I presume that there's going to be a Bronze Age EP coming out soon. Or is there going to be like a full length album?
So that's something we've actually been in talks with. So there's two more singles from the Bronze Age before I came along from their last recording session that still need to come out before our new stuff is coming out. And I think that he wants to release that as an EP. He's going to tack on the last couple of releases with the two new unreleased ones and put that out as an EP. So I'm pretty sure like sometime in August, sometime next month, there's the Bronze Age EP coming out. And then what we're going to do, I believe we're hitting the studio again in December. I think like second week of December, I think we're going to head back up to New Jersey to record some more. So we're going to release these three that we recorded that I'm a part of.
Right.
And those will be singles. And then I think we're going to go work on a full length that those three will probably wind up being on. But I think we're probably going to have a full length sometime around like next spring or so.
Cool. Can't wait to
I
hear
could
it.
be wrong. Like Jesse might watch this and he's like, "You idiot! That's not what we're doing at all." But I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing.
Well, now it has to happen because
Right.
it's already in the episode.
Sorry, I put it out on the internet. So if it's on the internet,
Yeah,
it's,
it's already done. Right. Yeah. It's already done.
It's not happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
I blame y'all.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear
So-
it though. Like, seriously, it's so good. All of it's good.
Thank you.
Everything.
Thank you.
So, James, you were
So,
about to ask
like-
something.
right. Okay. Yeah. So before we had you on, we forgot to ask you before the show, because there was a Instagram story on your profile on Instagram that we was going to ask you, right? And I screenshotted it, but it didn't say who posted it. I'm 99.9% sure it's from your account.
Fingers crossed.
and-
It was really weird and dumb.
And
I'm sure you're
and-
talking about the Instagram story with me spraying the dog down. I'm sure that's what.
no.
Yes.
No, but Blake kind of pretty sure it's you too. But on your post it said, "Very excited to announce that I signed on with Unified as a songwriter. Their team has credits with big hitters like T Swift, Ariana, Five SOS,
5 seconds.
Cheeseburgers." Well, thank you. That's why I got him as a co-host. And many more.
5 SOS.
Yeah. And and Nicki Minaj, and can't wait to see what the future holds. Was that you?
That's me. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't look like the much.
We
I
don't
should-
look like.
To make it interesting, I should have just been like, "No, what are you guys talking about?"
That's right. Yeah. But okay. So 2 questions.
Sure.
So what does this mean for you as a songwriter, and what does this mean for the fans that listen to your songs?
So I'm very excited. Like something like this has been like a dream of mine for a long time, and I'm hoping that it's finally going to come true with this. So Unified is a company that's a collection of songwriters and publishers and different kinds of managers and music supervisors and everything in the sync world. And they have different branches all throughout the world. The team that I work kind of directly with right now, there's a team in Nashville, but oddly enough, I work with the team out of Switzerland right now. So basically what I do is what I'm going to be doing is a combination of receiving briefs from them, whether it be from music supervisors that need a certain type of song for like a movie or film or something like that. It could be, and then at other times what it is I've gotten some briefs so far that I haven't been able to work on yet, but briefs that they keep it pretty vague. They'll say like, "Hey, this is for so-and-so artist that is like number whatever in like the European charts or whatever, has whatever, how many million streams on Spotify or whatever." So, it's somebody big, but we don't get to know who it's for. They need
until this talk about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll give us maybe like an instrumental or like some kind of idea or a topic or something, and they'll say write a song. And basically what I'll do is I'll start writing a song and I'll pitch it to them. And depending on who it's for, hopefully they like some of my ideas, and the goal is for them to accept some of my ideas so that can either go towards like a very big artist, like some of the people you mentioned, to actually cut on a record. So hopefully I would love to have like some songwriting credits on like a T Swift song. That would be amazing.
I find that. Go.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What?
Yeah.
The connection's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Okay. I was gonna say I find it kind of odd that they won't tell you who it's for, because if when you know who it's for, you can listen to the songs and kind of get a feel of them, and kind of base your writing against the way that they sing their song, right?
The cool thing that they will do is on these briefs that they send out, they send a list of references, which will be about 3 or 4 songs that are very, very similar or like in the same vein of what they want. So that does help. So you do get to listen to those to kind of get into the world of like, this is what they want you to write about and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to. I actually just got an email. So I signed that contract and then I got like a confirmation email literally this morning back from the guy. And so yeah, basically I'm going to wake up in the morning and start working on some of these briefs for the first time. So first time seriously. I've written a little bit here and there, but yeah, I'm super excited about that and hopefully get more of my music out in sync and TV and film and maybe like songs that I write that I'm maybe not performing on, but I get to write for other artists to sing. So it's just a dream. It's a dream come true for sure.
Dude, that is
Nice.
So now we can compare you not to Dave Grohl, but to Prince.
With the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah, as KTL. Like,
yeah, I don't know about all that, but I got to
to
start wearing more purple first.
Yeah, so that's the first thing you got to do. You got to throw out all of the clothes in your wardrobe and wear purple, strictly purple. Come up with some kind of symbol and you'll be set.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my name to like some binary code. Just
Yeah.
That works.
0110011 or something like that, Yeah.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Even I listened to a podcast episode about the history of Prince, and just like I knew he was a songwriter, but I had no idea how long he had done that before he ever even had a solo career, and just how many songs he like well-known pop songs that actually have him as a credit on it. It blows my mind.
Yeah, and what I love so much, I actually just started. I don't get on TikTok very much, but there was 3 or 4 days ago. I happened to hop on for all of about 10 minutes, and I came across a guy. Like what I love, I mean, it's always cool to hear like big names like Prince, like songwriting for other people and that kind of thing. But what I love are songs that we all know that comes from someone that we've like never heard of. And I actually found a TikTok account of a guy. He's not a famous artist or anything, but he's written famous songs, and he was just like playing some of the songs that he that he wrote or co-wrote, and he's playing like Closing Time, Someone Like You, Adele, and he's just like, he looks like he's probably 55, 60 years old, and he's sitting there jamming. I mean, he's got a sweet voice, but but nothing like crazy. But he has all these like iconic songs under his belt. I wish I could think of his name. I would shout it out. But yeah, that was such a cool account to find. Yeah. That I would not hate hopefully one day writing a song that somebody cuts that I get to be a part of like that. That would be, that's a pipe dream of mine.
Yeah. That would be great.
Because I know that one big name also who wrote songs before he went like multi-platinum is Chris Stapleton,
Oh yeah,
and he wrote some songs for like some big country artists, and then he just came out of the show and started singing himself.
Well,
yeah, and he's
I forgot what the name. I mean, he was in a pretty famous bluegrass band too. I can't think of the name right now. But before they basically like kicked him out and said like, "Hey, you need to go big and like you need to go solo right now."
Yeah, Mama heard it. They just kicked him out of the nest. Like,
yeah,
do your thing. Cool. The song credit thing that you were talking about, like, so did you say tomorrow you start doing that?
I'm going to wake up. Yeah. So basically I woke up this morning to a few new briefs and stuff and I've been getting briefs. So it's one of those things where it takes longer to like get people to look over the contracts and actually sign contracts before you're actually an official member of the team. So so now that I'm an official member, I feel like I can actually start looking at these briefs and like write seriously to them and start sending out. Cause it's hard to like get briefs and start writing to and send ideas before you actually have like contracts signed and stuff, because it can get messy. But yeah, now that all that's official and stuff, I basically plan on waking up as soon as in the morning and start working on some of these briefs.
That's cool, man. James, what kind of like piggyback on what you said earlier about like not telling you what the artist is. They probably do that too. So like you don't get an assignment, say, to an artist that you absolutely despise, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna write.
Because what they care about is getting a good song, whether or not about the artist singing and stuff. And what's funny is too, like my other publisher. So this doesn't have to do with United, but I also have a publishing deal through OML Sync. And if you remember last time we talked about my song. This is talking about Heartmouth now. Talking about I Think the World Is on Fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's that song, and since then I found out that song is actually going to land. It's so funny how it works because I got news that it's going to land in an Amazon original movie. Super stoked about, but they're like, yeah, but it's not coming out until next year, and I can't tell you any more details than that. So even like I know that song is going to be in an Amazon movie next year, but I have no idea what it's called, who's going to be in it, what it's about, nothing. Like I literally know nothing.
They will tell you eventually, though, right? Like
eventually, yeah. And I've been sitting on that news already now for probably 2 or 3 months. So, and I still don't have any updates. So, it's a slow process, but But yeah, I'm super excited about that. But that's a lot of how like the sync world works. Is you write a song, and even still, like that song was written a year and a half ago,
right?
And it took a year to get picked up.
Yeah.
And then now it's going to be like another year before it actually gets released. So it's the sync world is such a weird and slow world.
Yeah. Well,
hell, man,
to put in a movie too. Like I listened to that song today. It's great, dude. And what a song to use. So is that what's going on like more recently with Heartmouth? Like what else have you been up to with Heartmouth?
Yeah, it's funny how Heartmouth has kind of taken a turn. Like I've been wanting, or like leading up to right before the pandemic happened, what I was really wanting to do is start playing Heartmouth shows, because I've never played an officially like live Heartmouth show since I started. And I really wanted to get into that, and then COVID hit, things locked down, and it just, you have to adapt and change. So I got into just like songwriting, and that's when along COVID is when I started connecting with other producers from around the world and getting into the sync world and that sort of thing. And now I find myself busy writing for the sync world, or kind of with that frame of mind. Like I'm still writing music for me, like for the Heartmouth project, but kind of in the mind of like, where could I see this possibly landing and that kind of thing. And that does play a role into like at least the sound textures that I choose to kind of base the songs around. But then now I'm like neck deep in that. And I really, now that the world's opened back up again, I really want to play Heartmouth shows. But I haven't really been able to think about that too much. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Right now, I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds, because with the Bronze Age, we're like focused on shows and stuff right now. So I'm kind of focused on playing Bronze Age shows while working on like Heartmouth songs for just release and sync and that sort of thing.
Nice.
Oh, did we lose Blake?
Yeah, he's coming back. So he just told me to continue. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, but I do have a question for you about Heartmouth songs and your new possibility. Now, okay, so you say that you write Heartmouth songs in terms of outlooking other opportunities. When you write Heartmouth songs, do you hold some aside for somebody else to sing them, or like do you like? I mean, like how did it work out? How do you know that it's a Heartmouth song, and how do you know that it can be like another for another artist?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that I've only recently started to encounter, but it really just kind of depends on like, do I see myself like every song that I write, whether I write it for sync or whether I write it for another artist in mind or anything like that, doesn't make it less sincere of what I write about. Like I want to make sure that the song from the ground up is very sincere. Otherwise, whether I sing it or whether somebody else sings it, if it's not sincere, nobody's going to care about it,
Right.
So that's the most important thing first and foremost. But a lot of it just kind of has to do with genre. Like, me personally, I've never been like the biggest country fan in the world, like until recently. Like country started to grow on me, and I have no desire to be a country artist. But over the past few months, I've found myself kind of naturally writing songs that feel like they want to be country songs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can produce them as a pop song or indie or whatever, but they just feel like they want to be country songs. So if it feels like that, then I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to go for it. So I have a few demos on my computer of just like ideas in the country world that I've been working on. And I know for a fact that I don't want to, release country songs, at least seriously,
Right.
So yeah, I would love to finish those songs and then actually shop them out to actual, country artists and stuff. So there's a good example of like how I choose whether I keep a song or whether I want to, give a song to someone,
Right. Awesome. So Blake wants me to ask you, can you tell us how the collaboration with Rafi Burritos for Hopeless Place to
Yeah, Rafi Burritos.
Yeah.
So Rafi is awesome. So this is so funny. This is like a good product of like what happened during quarantine. So I've never met him before. He lives up in New York City. And he we met through a producer / mix engineer named Moshe. That he's amazing, by the way, that we met through like online forums. And Moshe was like, hey, I want to introduce you to Rafi is an EDM producer. I know you don't really do EDM, but he's looking for a male vocalist for one of his songs. And I think y'all would be a good fit.
Oh, nice.
And it happened to be a night where I was like working on an idea that wasn't really coming along too well. I just wasn't feeling it that night. I was like, yeah, send the song over. We'll see what happens. And literally that same night, like the very same night, that song came around. And I was like, man, this song is cool. Like it's very outside of what I'm used to. The song is called Hopeless Place, but it's very outside of what I'm used to, which was fun for me because it was like a fun new push, And yeah, we cut vocals for that song that same night. I sent them back to him, and within 3 days, we had like a finished product. So yeah, and I think Rafi and I are actually going to collaborate on another song pretty soon. We got it's going to be like another EDM song, but it's not going to be quite like as hardstyle as Hopeless is. It's supposed to be a little bit more like melodic, and I don't even know, like people in the EDM world would be mad at me over like the subgenres, but I think we would call it like melodic EDM. I don't know, but a really cool sounding song that I want to get done for him pretty soon. But yeah, Rafi, he's great people. So
for listeners who've never heard of EDM, I think that's electronic dance music, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So as a songwriter, I find it totally awesome that you're open to every kind of music, Because as a songwriter, I guess would have to be open to any kind of music, just to write with them or for them,
Yeah, I think that I mean, and no disrespect to anybody that does, but I feel like songwriters that write the same genre of music as the only genre of music they ever listen to, I just feel like it gets boring. It just gets redundant and boring. And
yeah,
my favorite artist, Dermot Kennedy, he's a singer-songwriter that writes in the singer-songwriter genre, but all he listens to is like hip hop. And that influence in the singer-songwriter style, even though his music is still very singer-songwriter, but just the articulation that he has within his music, and the imagery he paints is like, you can hear that it's a direct influence of all the hip hop he listens to. Like he loves J. Cole. Like J. Cole is like his idol.
Man, J. Cole's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's so cool whenever, and I think that's part of what makes his music so great to me personally, is that it's a singer-songwriter that just isn't every other boring singer-songwriter, and that happens from drawing influences from other genres.
Yeah. Do you think that the reason why he writes that one kind of music is because he's most comfortable there? He doesn't want to probably ruin the way that other music is written for other genres? You think he's like too comfortable in one area?
I think what it probably more comes down to, I couldn't speak for anybody else, but just thinking for myself, even though I'm drawn by a lot of different genres, like I'll use the country music example. Like I really love writing country music now, and I feel like if I actually tried to like start like a country band, I feel like people would see right through it. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I could authentically get on stage and be a country band, even though I love writing country music. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, at the end of the day, there's going to be a certain style of music that just naturally comes off as genuine to you, even though you're drawn by other genres. And that's probably the case for him. It's definitely my case, and what I would think would be the case for most artists.
Nice. Yeah. Because if you're most comfortable in one genre and not the other, it's just kind of limiting yourself, you know. So
yeah,
and I think that's like the worst possibility for songwriters, you know. So that's good. That's a good reason. So
yeah, I mean, like, I do listen to a lot of different styles of music, and it definitely does help, especially now, like that I'm getting briefs in different genres of music, and it definitely makes it harder to get a song to land when you're only working on, like, waiting for one genre to come your way. You know, like, it definitely helps if you get one brief that's like, hey, we need a K-pop song, and then like, oh, we're looking for something like singer-songwriter. Now here's something for like a trance style. Like, if you know at least a little bit about all of those genres, you have a much better chance of being able to write a song that can actually land somewhere, you know?
Right. Nice. So
Blake's back.
Blake has returned. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, okay.
So embarrassing. This has never happened before.
Nah.
I don't know. It's like I lost like Wi-Fi connection altogether.
I know.
Okay. I don't know
what
happened.
It's that South Carolina heat.
Yeah, South Carolina just sucks in general.
It does. It really does.
Your sunburn is just eating up all the Wi-Fi.
I think that's what it is. I'm really like radiating. It's just screwing everything up.
You need to put some aloe vera on it, man. Come on now.
Solar energy, basically.
Yeah.
What I missed? Did I miss anything?
We were talking nonstop crap about you, is all.
That's what I figured. I was like, well, if this is their chance, then they should take it. So
yeah. I got it all out of my system. James, did you?
Oh yeah. Man, I don't know about that Blake sometimes, man. He can really turn my grits, you know, or if I don't know what I'm playing to you right now. I'm glad
you got it all out of your system.
Yeah.
So you already talked about Hopeless Place?
Yes. Rocky, okay. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Did you put my note about Purple Lamborghini in there?
Yeah, I did, but yeah.
And that's not a knock. I love that song.
Oh yeah,
I love the movie. I love Suicide Squad. I thought it was a great movie. But like the chorus, yes, very much reminds me of Purple Lamborghini. And even
I would take that all day. Yeah,
like I was like, dude, Skrillex is amazing, and it had a very similar feel. I'm really into that.
It does. It has a little bit more of that hard style feel to it. I think that's I was like I felt super out of my comfort zone on that song because that's just like not a genre that I ever like. I don't even listen to it that much.
Right.
As much I know I'm sitting here talking about how I try to listen to multiple genres, but I really don't ever listen to like hard style EDM. But I don't know. He sent it to me, and there was something about that song. I'm just like, this is a fun song. Like, I would love to be a part of it. You know?
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was great. Well, cool. So, what's next for Heartmouth? Like, what's on the horizon?
So for Heartmouth, right now, so what I'm trying to do, so a lot of my time now is gonna kind of I have to learn how to allocate my time now that I've got this new alley that I'm kind of walking down. But so I'm gonna be writing songs for Unified. And then I've got the Bronze Age, like we've got shows coming up too. We've got like a few more shows on the books and booking more studio time and that kind of thing.
Right.
For Heartmouth, what I'm actually working on is an album, and that's like a fresh thing. But I've got my first 2 songs well underway. I actually finished writing my second song 2 days ago.
Okay.
And it's I'm feeling like a concept. I'm feeling like a whole concept album kind of a thing going on, and I feel like I can now that I'm still working with other producers, and there's going to be a few more singles coming out and that sort of thing. So I should have some content coming out and some more music coming out. But I feel like now that I have like an avenue of being able to write songs for Unified and for other people and work with, EDM producers and all this kind of thing.
Sure.
I feel like I'm going to want to have like, okay, I need to sit down at some point and what does Casey want to write that Casey wants to write that's not for anybody else. I don't need to write for like a pitch or a brief or anything like that. And I think that's what this Heartmouth record is going to be. I think it's going to be a really personal record, and it's just going to be for me. And if people like it, cool. If not, like, at least I will,
Yeah.
So
right.
that's kind of like my new goal for that, and how I see Heartmouth shifting from this point out. So yeah, I'm underway with that. So I don't know how many songs I'm going to wind up having, but I feel like it wants to be a record, so I feel like at least like 8 songs, probably about 10, and I'm second song in right now, so no release date or anything like that yet. I'm not that far yet, but yeah, I think Heartmouth is gonna finally have an album.
Nice. So I will ask you a question about Heartmouth and the live aspect, right? So I know that I would personally love to see you live one day. Hopefully in Columbia. You better come to Columbia. I want to buy a beer and shake your hand. But
I'll be trying to do a New Brooklyn Tavern. Don't you worry.
All right. Yeah. Yes.
CBGBs of the South.
Yes.
Yes. But so when you plan to go like on tour, right? I know Heartmouth is strictly your band. You do all the drums and singing and guitars and keyboards, right? But when you go live, are you gonna hire musicians to come with you? And if so, what do you look for in that musician that you would want to bring out of Heartmouth?
Yeah. So part one of that question is absolutely yes.
Okay.
I'm not trying to. If I play shows, I don't want it to just be like a strictly like one man acoustic thing.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I want it to be a full band. I want it to be awesome.
Yeah.
I want people to get like an experience out of it. And the big thing that I look for in musicians is real. I mean, obviously you got to play. You got to be able to play. But then two is, if you're a musician that can do multiple things, that's a great thing. If you're a musician that knows how to sing harmony, if you can play both guitar and piano, that's a great thing. It just kind of depends, or really it's just be good at what you're good at, and I can make the rest work. My biggest thing is for live. I want to be able to play as little as possible and focus on singing as much as possible. I can play guitar, I can play piano. I feel very much like, unlike drums, like drums are home to me, but those are things where I just feel like I have to focus a little too hard on that than I cared to.
Yeah.
So the more that I can put a guitar down and like free up my hands, and just focus on my voice, I feel like that's where I'm going to be the happiest. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I know some people that will be in my band for sure. I've still got a couple spots to fill up, but yeah, I don't know. You just gotta be able to play. That's it.
Cool.
And be good at what you do, But here's an off question, okay? So you're a drummer, obviously. So I'm assuming you play double bass too, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So did you buy double bass drums to play double bass yet, or were you this fool right here and try to play double bass with just one foot?
Oh, I use I
Good.
don't do bass drums. I have a slave pedal
Okay.
for my left foot.
Yeah.
But growing up, I spent too much time using both pedals, which made me get lazy with my right foot. So around 2013 or so, I spent from around 2013 until probably honestly last year, purposefully not using my left pedal and just forcing myself to work out my right foot and kind of gain some speed and gain some control with that. So, working on my heel toes and my swivel methods and that kind of stuff. And, it's really easy to get lazy with your primary foot when you have those two pedals. But, But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I play double bass, and yeah, I don't do the whole like I don't feel like I have enough of an ego for 2 actual bass drums. But yeah, I've got a double kick pedal.
Yeah, because I think what he did was Blake had one pedal and tried to do the double bass motion on one pedal. I'm like, dude, you're messing up your foot. I don't understand it, dude.
Yeah, it depends on the song. And I know a lot of my students, like some of my more advanced students, hate me to death because I'll give them drills where they want to learn how to do double stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool, and I'll take off the left pedal, and they're like, I thought you said we're going to do double stuff. I'm like, yeah, we are, but we're going to do it with one foot first. Yep. It just makes your life. I mean, it's something I wish I had done when I was younger, so I just make them go ahead and start with it, Right. But yeah, it just makes you better that way. I'm just convinced of that.
I think so what happened with me, so I was 10 years old when I started playing drums. I started getting into bands like Slipknot, at a pretty young age. So yeah. I wanted to kind of recreate some of that of what Joey Jordison was doing, but I couldn't with one bass pedal. There was a few songs I could fake it enough and play enough tom fills like thrown in there to kind of get by.
Use that floor tom to your advantage.
Yeah, like that's kind of like Before I Forget. That was a good example of that. And that was kind of one I just experimented on. There were some Mudvayne songs I could kind of make it work for. One in particular that I wish I would have had a double bass pedal for, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now I can play it with one leg, is Dumpweed. By
nice.
Too. So that just kind of figured out how to do that with one leg after practicing over and over and over again. But it was a while before I ever got. I think I had to wait until I had my first job, so it must have been I had been playing for 5 or 6 years before I finally got a double bass pedal. But when I did, one of the first like songs that helped me develop like a good way of figuring out like rhythms and figuring out how to basically teach myself how to play drums all over again, because you basically have to relearn everything.
Yeah, you really do.
Was Genesis off of off Evolution. Yeah, dead serious.
Oh, wow.
Like just the intro that yeah, so like that helped me figure it out, and like playing on the rims and but that wasn't the only one. Sweet Jezebel, that was another one that like kind of taught. There were several like patterns in there that just helped me figure out, okay, this is how double bass works, and just get used to the feeling. So a lot of Embracing Goodbye. There was some SBR in there. Trailer vs. Tornadoes, that was another one that I had.
Dane's kick part at the end of that song, I still love that. Oh
man, yep. Yep, everything, man. Like all the tropes that you learn from like metalcore and anything like that helped me develop that pattern, and I use it in church all the time. And people are like looking back at me, and like some people don't get it. And I mean, it's fine. My brother-in-law, Brian, who plays bass in our church band, he loves it. He's always like, "Are you gonna play a double bass pedal?"
I can't tell you the number of churches I literally got kicked out of playing for growing up, because if I'm behind a drum set and people are watching me, I'm going to leave them something to remember when they go home. I'm going to give it everything I've got. And I don't care if we're playing like a chilled out praise and worship set. Like I remember there was one church in Raleigh. I think it was RFA, and it was one of those like big as like a mega church, right? And when I was playing like this, I was playing a Christmas service for them, and like they had me like I was behind like the drum cage and everything, which I was already just like, oh, that separates me from people. I don't like it. And I remember there was like a front row of people that were like watching me, and they were into it. So I started getting into it. I'm like bashing my drums. I'm doing fills and stuff, and not being that guy. Like I'm not like taking over the song or anything, but just really giving it a show. And I remember at one point the sound guy like moving from the soundboard in the back up to the front of the stage, being like, "You need to turn it down." And I just looked at him. I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. These people are like getting something out of this. And I remember afterwards, like, having people come up to me like, I've never seen like a praise and worship set like that. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like that means a lot. I'm glad you got something out of it. And then after they would leave, then the sound guy would come up and be like, you're never coming here again. You're fired. Like,
wow, dude.
That's not the only time that's ever happened, but
I
don't really do the praise and worship thing much anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, if you're, I don't know, if no matter what you're doing, if people are like spending their time and or their money to come see you, I just think you should help them leave with something to remember,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you feed off the energy of a crowd, whether that's a secular show, or like praise and worship set. Like the energy is fed off of each other. I totally agree. There's sometimes
if there's energy in a room, I'm just going to feed off that energy. And like if you're going to like, I will take getting fired and not being invited back all day. That's fine.
Yeah.
What you can't take is like seeing people like unentertained.
Right.
I seem bored by like a show that I'm giving them. No, I can't live with myself in that. I'll take getting kicked out of venues. That's fine.
Yeah.
I do have one more question about the live aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you start booking dates to go on tour, how much time does you and your band need to actually practice the songs? Because I know you got a plethora of songs that you want to play for the shows. How much time?
You said to practice, like for rehearsal?
Yes. How much time do you need to practice before you start going on tour?
So whether it's a tour or whether it's just a one show deal, usually what I'll do is get together starting about 2 or 3 weeks before the show and get together hopefully twice per week. In the case of the Bronze Age for this show, we were a little bit more kind of intense with it because it was the first show in forever, and we were having to shake off a lot of rust.
Right.
So I feel like we got together probably 5 or 6 times. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the cool thing is as long as everybody in the band can play and as long as they do their homework outside of rehearsal, there's nothing more annoying than people not doing their homework and then you show up to rehearsal having to learn songs. That's not what rehearsal is for,
Right.
Learn the songs on your own time. And as long as everybody does that and they show up to rehearsal, have like a 2-3 hour rehearsal. And you can do that 2, maybe 3 times before a show and be fine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. So do you have any other like collaborations or any other like crazy projects going on right now?
The first thing that comes to mind, there's going to be a Heartmouth song dropping in the next couple months that I was really excited about the way this collaboration came out. So it's a song called Lower, and well, it's either going to be called Lower or 6 Feet Under. I can't remember, but either way, sounds super emo, right? No, but it was a song that I did a co-write for with a guy out of Italy named Ricardo, and he actually introduced me to Lauren Light, which lives all of 2 hours away from me, like lives in Greensboro, North Carolina. That I've like connected with through this dude from halfway across the world. And that's like the cool thing about like another cool story about everything that happens over this pandemic.
Sure.
But the 3 of us got together remotely the way we are right now, but and wrote this song, and it's a really cool song. I'm super excited about it. And we kind of wrote it for sync, but we also just wrote it to be a Heartmouth release. So Ricardo's working on the mix for it right now, and whenever we get a final mix back, then we'll start with a release plan, but that should be coming up within the next couple months. But yeah, that was just a really cool collaboration that I was excited about because I've known of Lauren Light for years, and she is big in the sync world. And, she like just last week she was posting about like she just got one of her songs landed in like a global Nike ad. Like it was crazy. And it's a great song too. And just absolutely talented artist. And so I've always kind of wanted to learn how she writes a little bit and kind of figure out, like, I just want to get in her head and pick her brain a little bit, like, how do you do this? And it was cool to be able to do that through a complete stranger from halfway across the world. So it was not how I expected it to happen, but it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's coming up next as far as collaborations go. And yeah, who knows after that?
Cool, man.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. So we did really dive deep into this last time, but we would like to learn more about how you do your drum lessons for students who really want to learn how to play drums.
Yeah, so really it just kind of comes down to two different ways. So one, have you ever played before? Are you starting completely from scratch, Or two, have you had previous lessons with somebody else before? One is always preferred because it's a lot easier to just teach someone from the ground up, and basically we start off with, like, I remember the last time we talked, like the first thing I do is get you to like tap the head, rub the belly at the same time,
Right.
Just learn some basic independence, with your limbs. And then kind of start building up from there, learning how to count, learning how to multitask, that sort of thing. But yeah, I do get a lot of students too that come from previous instructors and stuff. And the first month or two of that is really just kind of going in. This sounds super cynical. I don't mean it to sound as cynical as it is, but it's like a reality, is having to get students to unlearn bad habits that they picked up from other teachers. Just because around here anyway, a lot of the drum teachers around here are really like, they play drums, but they specialize in other instruments. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I have to a lot of times kind of get them out of bad habits, or maybe they didn't have a previous instructor at all. Maybe their previous instructor was YouTube. You know what I mean? Like they come in here, oh, I can play these songs, and like they can do some like really cool things, but they're missing some of the foundational steps that should come way earlier in the learning process. So we have to kind of backtrack and that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's really those are the two main avenues of how to teach, how I teach anyway. And I teach, I do have some books that I teach out of and stuff, but I hate books. What I like to do is find what students like to do. Now, if it's, wanting to try out for, marching band, that kind of stuff, then yeah, we focus mainly on sheet music and that sort of thing.
Right.
But if otherwise, we really just, I find out what kind of music they're into, and then we'll find some songs that they like, and then learn proper technique through those songs so that they're learning stuff while having fun, learning how to play songs they've always wanted to play at the same time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because if you teach students what you want to learn, they're more eager to actually learn it, instead of, okay, well, this sucks, so yeah.
Yeah, because I can't tell you the number of students I've had that come from other instructors, and like the first lesson I'll have with them is like, all right, what were you working on last with your previous instructor? And it always starts with like a sigh. They're like, oh, I was having to play "Don't Stop Believing," and and like they hate that song, So it's all right. Well, it's a cool song that you like. Let's start with that, Yeah. So I feel like a lot of instructors teach kids songs that they like instead of teaching songs that the kids like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I get that. I noticed that a lot. There's like the songs that you kind of like have to like learn to understand certain things, but for the most part, finding what you like that's where all the creativeness kind of explodes.
Yeah. And that's kind of what my goal is too. Like my goal is like the musicians that I try to create in lessons is I just want to teach people, instead of teaching them how to be some virtuoso. Like I'm no virtuoso at anything, but I know a little bit about a lot. And I think the most important thing you can do as a musician is be creative, because the more creative you can be, then the more original you are. That's what I care about. So that's what I try to teach my students. I just want my students to be original and creative,
Right. Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's what music's all about anyway, is getting creative and letting it kind of take over your life. Kind of like it has all of us. I'm sure like music is so important. And, there's some people that go about it very casually, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then there's like, a whole nother group of people who music means everything. And, and I'm very thankful for the teacher that I had. He was kind of like that. Like, what do you like? Oh, you like Blink-182? Oh, I like Blink-182 also. Like, let's learn some of their songs. And it was cool, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So before we let you go, last time we talked about, what are songs we usually ask all of our guests, like what are some songs, like what's a song that means a lot to you? You just can't really explain why. Since we already asked that, thought of a new question here. Can you give us 3 albums that just changed your life?
3 albums that changed my life. Okay. So I think probably in the drumming world and the way that I think about drumming a lot, I would say probably Under Oath, Define the Great Line.
Yes.
Either that or Lost in the Sound of Separation. Like anything between like those like 4 years of those like 3 records, like Chasing Safety and those. Just getting inside of Aaron Gillespie's head, which is really just kind of also like getting inside of Dave Grohl's head, if you kind of like take the order of inspiration.
Right.
That did a lot for me in the drumming world as far as playing rock drums. And then I think what made me just love music was Bon Iver's self-titled record from 2011. That's just one of those where it's like that record just made me love noise. Like, because I've called myself a noise lover for years, right? And I think that record just made me absolutely fall in love with sound. Like I didn't listen to albums anymore, like for like, hey, what are the drums doing, or like what are the vocals doing? But that was the first record that really made me listen to everything, And then, the last one's a toss-up because I'm trying to think of something recent. I don't want to let my 3 records just be something from forever ago because I think music is always good. 6 months, the last time we talked, I would have said Without Fear by Dermot Kennedy. And I still kind of hold to that because I feel like that record inspired me more than any record I can think of as a songwriter, just wanting to write meaningful lyrics that I mean, it's basically poetry in song form. You know what I mean? I just think it's such a perfect record. But lately I kind of have like a new, like Dermot's got to watch out because I have like a new favorite guy. Matt Mason. I don't know if y'all know him. He's another singer-songwriter. And his album Bank on the Funeral, I think, is another one of those records that's just perfect from front to back. Like it's just so honest. And especially coming out of like, if I had to balance those 2 albums, Without Fear is just an album that just like, it's just beautifully done. It's just so beautifully done. And then Bank on the Funeral is beautifully done in the sense of just kind of how raw it is about just like a dude that just feels like his life is just all sorts of screwed up. You know what I mean? He's just writing songs about the journey of that. And I don't know, like it's such a good record. I don't know, but yeah, I would say those are my 3/4 records that I'm loving.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll have to start throwing that question in there, James, for some.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really good question. But for all of our listeners, you can go check out Heartmouth at Instagram, the website, and at heartmouthmusic.com and heartmouthmusic on Instagram. You can go to the website to the YouTube channel. We'll leave the link on our description because you need at least 100 subscribers to get the custom URL. So let's get Casey 100 and more, probably a million subscribers.
Yes, thank you.
So you can get that custom URL for you. And then Mr. Rosalie has the links for the Bronze Age.
Yeah, so on the Bronze Age, from what I saw, it was Facebook and Instagram is just at the Bronze Age, but Twitter is at the Bronze Age NC, correct?
That's right.
Awesome. Same thing for YouTube. Just go search for it. We'll put a link in there. But you can just I found that if you just search the Bronze Age NC, that pop right up.
It's usually it pops right up. Yeah.
Yep. So
and you, Casey, has Twitter too, right? Do you have a Twitter?
I own a Twitter, but I don't open it up. Like,
okay.
I'll open it up every once in a while to like look at the news section just to see like what the heck is happening. But no, you won't find me tweeting or anything.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Awesome,
Everything music wise can be found on like Spotify and Apple Music and all that. So,
everywhere you stream everything, you can find Heartmouth and Bronze Age songs. And if you do want to keep up with me on social media, I'm most active on Instagram. So
nice.
Yeah, at Heartmouth Music, at Casey Austin Allen. Yep.
Boom.
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you, Mr. Casey, for coming on our show once again, being our second guest to return.
Anytime.
This is a fantastic talk, man. I really appreciate our last talk. I appreciate this talk even more. So yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, and until we'll shoot for lucky number 3.
Or yes, sir. Yeah.
Got to. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck out there playing some more shows, and hope everything goes well. And good luck with your new endeavor. With the songwriting, that's really exciting.
Yes.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Really awesome. Yeah.
Thank y'all. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great night. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah.